How to write the perfect care home news release that will guarantee positive press coverage for your care home. Well, here goes. I'm going to show you the press release and I'm going to show you what you have to consider when writing a news release for your care homes that will guarantee you positive press coverage. And very, very quickly, let me show you here. Here is the resultant press coverage. It's not every day a pony walks into your room. Care home residents visited by two ponies, and here it is again. Same story, two publications. This, of course, was online as well, and I'm going to show you the news release, the exact news release that got this coverage, and I'm going to explain to you and show you how you can write a similar press releases and what you have to consider. Okay, well, the first thing, obviously, is what's the story. Now, this care home is a Barrow Hill care home. They are based in Rochester in Staffordshire. And essentially, the story was, with a nice quote here, actually, that residents, these ponies had an immediate and strong impact on the residents at the care homes. And it was love at first sight. Now, actually, there could have been another headline to this story. In fact, there were such good quotes that there were two possible headlines. I'm a former journalist. So I'm always looking at what's the story. What's the story? I do stress you must be very clear on what's the story here. But if I can show you another example here, in fact, this is what the press picked up on. It's not every day a pony walks into your bedroom. But it's true, it's not every day. And that was such a nice quote, real life quote from one of the residents. Now, that could have been an alternative headline because it's unusual and it's unusual having miniature ponies literally come into your own home. This is a care home. So it's very, very important. It's very clear what the story is. By the way, this headline is a way to convey what the story is. And by the way, when you are pitching this story to the press, my recommendation is always to make sure that that headline goes into your email subject line. Let's remember, this is going out to the regional media, so it's very, very clear that it's a Rochester care home. The press around the Rochester region are interested what's going on in their area. If it was, of course, was a London care home, it would not be of interest to them. But you're making very, very clear in that headline that this is really, really relevant to the media that you are targeting that looks after and is interested in news from the Rochester area. And again, what's the story? Well, here you go. The first line in this news release is these two miniature ponies stole the hearts of residents. So it's very, very heartwarming. It's a heartwarming story. And I do want to emphasize is the regional media in your catchment areas do love heartwarming stories, heartwarming human interest stories. And this news release hits all those buttons. And again, if you look at the second line of this news release, it goes into a little bit more details about these ponies. And then actually straight away has made it very, very clear about where these ponies were visiting, and then the story unfolds from there. So these first two paragraphs are very, very, very important as well. So you have, I repeat, you have the headline, and then you have the story in this first paragraph. So, I'm a former journalist, so when I think about writing these stories, you have to give this headline because you essentially want the journalists to see the headline themselves. And when ideally, you really want these journalists to largely and effectively copy and paste your story. So with that in mind, you need to give them everything that they're looking for, which is the headline and then the first line of the story that they are then going to write, the second line, and then a second paragraph, and it all goes from there. So again, how this news release is constructed, the rest of this news release conveys the story in detail. They were hosted in the home's large garden. I'll come to this in a moment, the importance of quotes, but then you do have the quotes. They visited the residents' rooms, and then a little bit more about, yeah, interesting to have miniature ponies, but why? Why? What's the point? Why are they potentially so impactful? Well, here, again, in a very, very concise way, it emphasizes how they are known to offer therapeutic benefits to the vulnerable elderly, for example. So there's a healthcare interest here. Remember, your care homes are looking after our nation's elderly, and a wonderful job you are doing too, to make sure you include the healthcare interest, the public interest. This is of not just a regional interest, this is actually a national interest about how you as care experts are looking after our nation's elderly. In this case, they gave Mel, who wrote this news release, gave a little bit more details about the Lollipop Pony Party, is the name of this company, and a little bit more about the ponies themselves. Intuitively respond to the emotion of people around them. That's interesting. So again, this is the part of the package that's telling the story. And then they have actual quotes from the owner of Lollipop Pony Parties, Karen, who again gives her own quotes. And again, just emphasizing, doubling down. Visits from our ponies can often have a very calming effect on residents, especially those living with dementia. And added, dementia care is very, very important right now. And here, Karen mentions how they can provide new experiences for some and bring back lovely memories for others. And again, if we go on, it's very sensory because residents can enjoy the smells and feel their lovely soft fur, etc. And a little bit of humour as well to go with it, how they enjoyed all the fuss. And again, just to double down on the gravitas. This is not just small ponies visiting a care home. It's about evoking memories and reflection, helps to give residents a feeling of security and comfort. Again, there's public interest, there's healthcare interest, and then importantly, we go into the quotes and from, in this case, the manager. So again, what's been happening here, if you've noticed, is the story, is being told using quotes of the people involved in this story. So again, you can have residents, in this case, the quotes from the residents, and to be honest, 9 times out of 10 residents and their families like being involved in these media projects. They see themselves in the press. It's always a positive experience. I've never known it not to be anything but a positive experience, both for the care home, the team, and by that I mean the care teams, and also the residents and families themselves. And you had another quote from another resident. So again, effectively, you've got 2 residents, 2 families involved here with this really, really nice quote. And again, it's not every day a pony walks into your bedroom. Again, that was the line that could have been used in this headline. And again, just to reiterate, here it is. It's not every day. That's the one the actual journalists used. I think they used it in both stories. Yeah, you can see here. So, if you speak to the residents themselves or their families, these wonderful quotes can come out directly from them, which you can use in your headline. And that quote can also be used in the story that the press then cover, because it's such an interesting quote that in itself is worthy of the headline. So let's just go back here. We're going to go back to the news story. Again, we were focusing on the importance of quotes. Literally, the story has been told not by a third person, i.e. the journalist in this case, but effectively the quotes from the residents, the person who runs this company that has the miniature ponies, and also, if we go drop down further, to care home manager, Dania. And she talks a little bit more about the home and the benefits to the residents again, so it can bring back lots of lovely memories for them, but meeting them indoors and studying inside. But it was a new experience for many. It brings out the fun of this as well. So the whole story has been covered in quotes by the people involved, either residents or the team at your care home, or in this case the team at Barrow Hill Hall Care Home. And then here, what you do have when you're writing this news release is like more details of the care home itself, should the journalist be interested. So you're going to fit all the good things in here. More details, it's been rated good by the CQC. It gives more details about the home itself, and if anyone wants to contact the person who wrote the news release, in this case it was Mel, there's more details on how that can be done. So that is a real life news release that got the real life press coverage that I showed you. And what I've done here is showed you how to construct it and the important things you need to be considering. Now I've got two more things to say. You remember the importance of photographs. If you have good photos, such as here, I mean, these are good photos. These are not just smartphone photos. They probably highlight editorial photographer. And again, you can see here, these are very, very powerful photos that in itself help tell the story. And again, this is all online coverage as well, so it's going to be permanently remaining online. But you see, if you're going to get print coverage, then in this case, a full story, full page story. Why? Because there were great photos to go with it and to accompany the news release. So the final point I want to make, again, if we go back to the story, is that this is not marketing guff. This is a story. So the focus and the emphasis here and the guiding principle must be that you create and build a story, not marketing guff, saying, you know, how many rooms you have available and excessive language that, you know, in a third person kind of praises your home and says how amazing you are. Journalists who you are pitching this story to want to know what the story is. And if you have a good story such as this, all that good key messaging that you want to convey will be told in the story, You don't need to sell or market or put, you know, extra glorious praise about your home in that news release, because the story does it on its own. So I hope that helps. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any other videos like it. My name's Adam of Springup PR, and we help care homes get more inquiries, fill bids faster, via PR and marketing. I mean, I've done a whole load of other videos which make sure you go and watch.